What's up, Cinefix? It's Cruz, it's T, and it's time to talk about Walking Dead, y'all, because there's only 2 more episodes, baby. Alright, so rather than just jumping right into tonight's episode, since there's been, quite a bit of time since the last time we did a Walking Dead update here on Cinefix Now, let's do a little discussion of the season as a whole up to this point.
It started off really strong, and for the first, 3-4 episodes,
yeah,
it was back
super
to
duper.
Super duper. It
super
was
duper.
A lot of what I remember liking about season 1 of The Walking Dead.
Even within those 3 episodes, though, despite me literally fist pumping with joy during the episodes, there were just whispers of all the things that remind me of how frustrating the show can be, and it turned out that was a bit of foreshadowing.
So things that I think are good. Let's start with good, really good things from the season.
Positivity.
The introduction of Gabriel. He's from the comics, and he is really cool. I think he's really interesting because he's got a lot of guilt, and he's really disturbed. And he's trying really hard, and he's really different from all of the characters we have so far. I really like the pace of the first 3 to 4 episodes, and the turning of the Terminus people, which are not from the comics, into the Hunters, which are from the comics. I never liked Bob.
I never trusted Bob.
I never trusted Bob. I never really liked Bob. But the entire plot with Bob and the Hunters is great.
I think the biggest surprise for me was how quickly they got rid of the cannabis assholes. That's what I call the cannibals from Terminus. I call them cannabis.
The cannabis assholes.
But I was surprised at how quickly and swiftly they did away with that. And I sort of took that as a really encouraging sign of how quick the pace was going to move in the season and how much we were going to see happen. But then shortly after that storyline wrapped up, things went right back to the we've seen in previous seasons. I mean, in the most recent season, they're doing the same thing of just showing us 1 or 2 characters for an entire episode. What's this person up to this week? And nothing happens.
It's also really surprising because there's so much comic book ground left to cover that even if they're aiming for this to be a 10, 12 season long show, they still have time. They could keep this pace going.
And they're wasting so much time, which is what I don't understand. I feel like they spent a good deal of last night's episode showing us things that we didn't need to see. There were tons of flashbacks of Carol doing things that did not give us any more insight into her as a character, did not advance the story, and were completely unnecessary information because it's things that we would have surmised just
or
from
already
what's happened.
I knew she burned those bots. I knew she burned those people alive.
We knew she felt bad about it.
But then there was the scene where after she comes out of saving everyone from Terminus, she's like, I'm going to take the guts off. It's
right.
Well, yeah, you have guts on you.
Right.
You're going to take them off.
But the entire episode last night focused on Daryl and Carol trying to get to this hospital and figuring out exactly where Beth was. Because during the episode, they do find out that it's at a hospital. And then they have a mix-up and tussle with Everybody Hates Chris, another person whose name I cannot be bothered to learn.
Noah. I really enjoyed the moments where Daryl and Carol had their sort of character development, conversation bonding moments.
Right.
I feel like what the show's missing is what a lot of really good sci-fi shows, something like Battlestar Galactica pulled off really well, where they're able to have those conversations amidst an ongoing plot.
Right.
The show seems to feel the necessity to just stop everything to discuss character.
It's just hold for exposition.
Yeah, it's either character development or plot. They can't do both at once, and it's really frustrating. But I really did enjoy those scenes. Speaking of character development, they've done so much work on Carol, taking her from this really insecure, broken woman to this badass motherfucker.
I would say Carol has had the biggest character arc maybe out of anyone in the entire series.
But then she just runs out the door into a car she's done, she's fucking idiot, she's a toddler. And you're like, bitch, please, why'd you do that?
I mean, maybe in the apocalypse you just don't look both ways anymore.
Maybe. Everything about it was this very grounded episode, this very contained, emotional episode. And then you have this moment that's just comes out of nowhere, but in the worst, most unrealistic way.
So from here on out, I'm really hoping that they sort of get back to where we were at the beginning of the season, where there's constant story and plot progression instead of this obvious time waste. They made it pretty clear that we're all sort of driving toward this Prison Break-esque kind of mission where the crew's going to be reunited. I mean, obviously we learned that Eugene is a charlatan, which I've been saying since day one because scientists do not have mullets.
Ain't no scientists with a mullet.
But we know that that whole mission was complete bullshit. So that gang will probably be heading back to the church, meeting up and reuniting with Rick and the rest of the crew. Daryl, as we already know, is back at the church from like 4 episodes ago, and everything we've been seeing is flashback. So I figure they're just going to storm this hospital and prison break Carol and Beth.
That's the only thing that is a little bit automatically disappointing about the next 2 episodes, is that I you know almost exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The next one, they're going to it's going to spend the entire episode rounding up the raid, and then the last episode is going to be the raid, and one of them's going to die. For sure, one of them's going to die.
Which again is oddly super evocative of what we just saw with them having to break out of Terminus. Like the whole end of the previous season, Rick, they're screwing with the wrong people. Daryl had almost a similar line where everybody hates Chris is in the car with him, and he's just like, oh, you know, you're going to need like a lot of guns and a lot of people or something to that effect. And Daryl was just like, yeah, well, we got both. And it's just like, okay, they're screwing with the wrong. It's the same exact sentiment, same exact mechanism.
I thought they were setting us up to start moving towards Washington for real, and start moving towards, like, for the people who've read the comics, this isn't a spoiler if you haven't, everything that happens in Alexandria. I think that's what everybody really want. Like, the first thing everybody really wanted to see from The Walking Dead was the prison and the governor, and we've seen that. And now everybody wants to see Alexandria. So they've even already mentioned, like, that general sort of Virginia, Washington, Maryland area multiple times, and they've talked about like cities there with walls. So you know that it's coming and that there's something over there. There's a ton of really cool characters that are involved in the process of getting there, and they could have been involved in this entire thing. So it's weird to me that not only are they slowing down, but they're going back to Atlanta,
right?
Which is in the opposite direction we want them to go.
So those are our thoughts. This was the first of the last 3 episodes of the season, and they pretty much have to knock it out of the park on the next 2, and I hope they do, because if they have a weak season ender, it's really just gonna piss off a lot of people like me. So let us know in the comments if you guys watched it, what you thought. If you loved it, maybe you can convince us. Probably not, but you know, knock yourself out. And let us know what you think is going to happen in the final 2 episodes, because we'll be doing wrap-ups on those 2 after they happen right here on the channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them. Boink. That's my impression of our opener.